Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we would get all cozy on the sofa and I'm going to answer some of your questions because it's been a while since we've done a Q&A and just want to have a chill time today. It's going to be nice, it's going to be good, and we're just going to dive straight in. I asked these questions over on Instagram, so obviously if you want to take part in the next Q&A, whenever that might be, then feel free to follow me over there. Right, yo, let's do this. What's your long-term plans with moving house? Great question, because I don't even know. I'm not good with not having long-term plans. I like plans. So if you are following, you will know, but if you don't, I'll catch you up. We were planning on moving house and we actually got really far in the process. We had an offer accepted on a house that we wanted to move to. We had an offer accepted on this flat and we were ready to go. We were ready to exchange contracts and our buyers pulled out. I blame Liz Truss and the Tories in general. But yeah, that all went to shit. And then we decided, do you know what? We're gonna stay here. We wanna have another kid. We can have another kid in this 2-bed flat. Hence why you've also been seeing some room transformation videos, Rowan's room and this room, because we were like, we're gonna stay here for a bit longer, so we better make it functional and livable and nice. So we have another fixed term mortgage on the flat and that expires in September 2026. Obviously you can move before your fixed term is up or after, but like September 2026 is the kind of date in terms of which we need to have made a decision. So maybe like 6 months to a year before that, we will sit down, we will evaluate our finances, we'll have a look at what the housing market and mortgage rates are doing and make some decisions. And also TBC the size of our family. I can't really imagine myself living anywhere other than London or Manchester. Depends what we can afford. I want a house with a garden. I want a house with a garden and friends nearby. Is that too much to ask for? How are you feeling after your career change? I'm feeling great. Thank you so much for asking. Honestly, best decision ever. I feel so much lighter. My mental health is so much better. I'm just a lot more chill. There's more breathing room in my work week days in order for the natural like last minute things to come up or for things to overrun and take a little bit more time. Like previously that would have been me doomed. Whereas now it's like, okay, no, it's fine. Like a little bit of stress, but I can work around it. Or like, oh, absolutely, I can take an entire afternoon off to meet a friend for lunch who is visiting from America. Like, I honestly feel so lucky and grateful that I have this work-life balance that I do. I just feel like a massive weight was lifted off of my shoulders and I feel free. I feel really creative. I feel really chill. Like all of these things that I was hoping for. It's great. Would recommend doing the thing that you're scared of, but deep down, you know you really should do. Do you think you'll be doing any more fertility content? I'm TTC, which is trying to conceive, and I loved it last time. Well, thank you. I loved sharing it all last time as well. I feel like that content, the response that it got as well, it helped a lot of people. And I don't know if I'll be doing any like dedicated content around it, but I don't mind sharing that we are currently trying. And yeah, it took us a year to conceive Rowan and we're currently like 4 months in, round 2, and not pregnant yet. And it's bumming me out. I can do it with a broken heart. So actually it's kind of interesting that the looming doom career stuff is gone, but now there's this like undertone, the looming thing that is bumming me out and making me sad is the fact that I'm not pregnant. But it's made more manageable by the fact that I'm enjoying myself so much more in work and life generally. So I'm trying to maintain the same mindset that got me through that time when we were trying to get pregnant the first time around, which was enjoying the things that I can do that I wouldn't be able to do if I was pregnant or have a newborn. So that's the thing that I'm trying to focus on, which is actually like just a good thing to do anyway, which is just enjoy the moment. Enjoy the present. I might do a video on it if you're interested, but it's not going to be like a whole series like it was last time. And if and when I get pregnant, fingers crossed, touch wood, I will share that with you in my own time. So please no speculating because It hurts my heart. How's breastfeeding weaning going? I spoke about this on my Instagram. We fucking did it. We did it. I'm planning on doing a whole video about the breastfeeding and about the weaning and what we did and how it went. But all I'll say here is we fucking did it. I'm a free woman. It's great. It went well. We're really doing a bunch of baby parent questions right now. So what's your fave part about Rowan at the age that he is? So at the time of filming this, he is about to turn 2. He will be 2 by the time you're seeing this. And oh, it's so good. My favorite thing is when he does something for the first time that you did not know he could do. You're like, what? You know how to say that? Or you understood what's happening here? It's so hard to know what's going on in their little brains and like how they're processing all of the information around them. So we recently had Passover and we were at my aunt and uncle's house and we had the Seder and Rowan was the youngest there. And my auntie did the whole thing around the afikoman, broke the afikoman. We made it a whole hoo-ha about the fact that the afikoman was gonna get hidden and that Rowan would get to find it later. And then we carried on with the Seder. And then like later on in the evening, Rowan was just like, she break it, Rowan find it. And we were like, you remember? And like he instigated the like finding of the afikoman and he just, yeah, he like completely remembered it. And then I have some like matzah at home as well. And I gave him some this morning and he was just like, I break it, I find it. Like, I know you don't remember those years, like as you get older, like you don't really remember that, but he still has memory. Like he still remembers things now. And it's amazing, amazing. And then my other favorite thing was this morning, I woke up and I was feeling very tired and Rowan was lying next to me and I just was like, oh God. And then Rowan's just going, oh God, oh God, oh God. I was like, oh, he repeats everything. Gotta be careful what you say. Will you be doing your budget/income/expenses videos? I found them very informative. Well, thank you. Yes, absolutely. So I actually just got from my accountants the spreadsheet with all of my income from the last tax year, 2023 to 2024. And so I need to do my pie chart magic on it and you'll be seeing that video fairly soon, maybe in like a few weeks, a month or so, I don't know. Soon. So that's the income one. And then, yeah, I want to do an expenses one as well. But yeah, I just like doing them for the business side of things because I think it's interesting to have that kind of like transparency around creative businesses and the finances of it. It's common. But speaking of business, income and expenses, I wanted to thank this video's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for creators, entrepreneurs, freelancers, and business owners to stand out and succeed online. I use Squarespace for my website and I absolutely love it because as somebody with no website design expertise, knowledge, or experience, it is great to be able to just drag and drop things and use their beautiful templates to build a website that looks really great and feels like me. They also have Squarespace Blueprint, which is an interactive website design experience. So it will take you through all of the stages of website design, hold your hand through the process. Yes, please, that is what I need. And it also has optimized SEO tools to help you show up in people's searches and get discovered. You can also have an online store on Squarespace, so if your business sells physical or digital products or even services, it can all be done on Squarespace, all in a beautifully integrated way, front and back end, and is super easy. And it's made even easier for your customers too with flexible payment options. They accept credit cards, PayPal, and Apple Pay, and in some eligible countries, you can do a buy now and pay later payment plan. So if you want to create your own website, then head to squarespace.com to start your free trial. And then when you are ready to launch it into the world, you can go to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. How did you know the right time to have a baby? I don't think there is any such thing as the right time to have a baby. You just make the decision and you go for it. Like for us, the decision was based around the fact that I got news from my surgeon that I would have to have another surgery at some point in the future. And after that surgery, it would be very difficult to have children. And so that kind of pushed everything forwards for us. And so we were like, okay, let's like get married, have kids, do the thing. But then it still took us a year to get pregnant. So you just never know. So we were kind of like forced by external circumstances to have a family. But obviously it was what we wanted anyway. It was just sooner than we planned. But I genuinely don't really know if there's a right time, because there's so much that you can't necessarily plan for. So you might like go, okay, when I've graduated, or when I get this job, or when I've been in this job this amount of time, or when we've moved to this place, or when we're earning this amount of money, then you're like, okay, now we can have a baby. But then it might be immediate, it might be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be 5 years, you just don't know. How are things post-office move? Any regrets? So no regrets, which is good. But I definitely am getting out of the house less. There's many days where I just get outside for the childcare run and that is it. And me and my extroverted self, that's never good for me. But there is a co-working space nearby to me that does day passes, and financially it doesn't make sense for me to like have a membership there on a monthly basis, because most of the work I can get done here. I do a lot of filming and stuff, and so that has to all be here. But I haven't used it yet. But I'm excited to. On a day, I need to find a day in my schedule where I only have like laptop work to do or calls to do, because that I can do there rather than like a lot of filming and making stuff. I'm gonna try it out, see what it's like, go to a co-working space with my laptop, and I'll report back. But generally, I love it. I'm planning on making a video that is showing you how I organize and kind of like store and then set up all of my like working from home and filming from home equipment, because obviously we had to put it somewhere in this small flat. Actually, that's a lie. It's a big flat, but storage is hard to come by in London. Do you still feel you after becoming a mum? Do you know what? I do. The whole kind of like loss of identity thing that a lot of new parents talk about experiencing, I have not. And either one, I got very lucky, or two, my theory is that it's because I went back to work very early. So Rowan was 3.5 months old and I started working part-time. And so I had this other thing that was tied to my identity outside of being a mum that I got to reconnect with quite early. But I imagine that if I had done like a full year maternity leave where my whole identity for that year was a mum, or my whole working identity that year was being a mum, then it might be different. Obviously, it's such a personal and unique thing, but that's what I think happened with me. I was able to reconnect with other parts of my identity quite early on in my motherhood journey, and so that's really helped me still feel like me, plus this other thing. Plus Rowan. Favorite song from the Tortured Poets department. Okay, I like this album. I've been listening to it a lot. I wasn't sure at first, but actually it's pure chaos and I love it. From the safety of my very secure, safe, happy, long-term relationship, just watching from afar. My favorite song, honestly, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. That's probably one of the most chaotic songs on it. It's so funny to me. I honestly think that actually a lot of the album is really funny and really heartbreaking. The kind of vibe where you're like crying over something and then you kind of have an out-of-body experience where you're like witnessing yourself crying at this absolutely ridiculous thing. And you're like, why am I so like upset about this? It's so stupid. And so then you start laughing is how I interpret the entire album. That's what I think. But I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, I absolutely love. And what else? Let me just check the track list, because Jesus Christ, 31 songs, are you joking? I've got a lot of faves, but I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is the boppy fave, and then the kind of like sad fave is LOML, that one. Anyway, have you started any new hobbies recently? Okay, not a new hobby, but I have been playing tennis again, and I was doing some coaching, but the new thing is that I started playing some matches. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There's various like local tennis leagues, and you just sign up and they put you in a division, and then you organize amongst you and the other players just matches, and then you put the results in, and then it creates a little division table for you, and it's all very exciting. I think because I've had such a break from playing tennis, they've like put me in the lowest league, and not to brag, but I have been destroying everyone, but still having a good time, and I'm not mean about it. But I'm hoping that maybe if I finish near the top of the league, they'll put me in the next one. Because it is obviously always nice to play against people who are at a similar level or better than you, because then you get a real good go. But then it's also nice for the people that I'm playing with. If I'm better than them, then they get that experience of playing with someone better than you. So, you know, what goes around comes around. And I love tennis, and I've got tickets to Wimbledon again this year. Fucking love tennis. Anyway, what's your favorite part of your new job? So my new job is doing consulting and coaching for other creators, and I've mostly been doing Patreon strategy and Patreon launches with people, which is really fun. I've done some build outs of like Notion databases to help people with the workflow of video production for a YouTube channel, and then also just generally like helping people prioritize all the various different like pieces of their content and projects that they do, and helping them with like time management and priorities and goals and things like that. I love it. I think my favorite part at this stage, in this very early stage, is actually just like the confidence building in me in terms of when I'm working with clients and I get really nice feedback from them, or I just generally like feel really confident in what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, I do know what I'm talking about. So in this very like early stage of like, oh my God, do I know what I'm doing? Like, why did I make this change? Like, I'm trying to do this whole new thing. Like, am I even qualified? I don't know. So my favorite thing at this point is like actually being able to help people and go, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. This is actually useful for people. So that's handy. That's handy going forward, you know, to kind of believe in my own abilities. And especially like having done one thing for so long and now doing something else, it's like very reassuring. How do you manage to wear jewelry while having a toddler, especially big earrings? I cannot. So there was definitely a stage where I also could not. But now things have kind of calmed down a bit and I can. And it's also a risk that I am willing to take. Wearing earrings again has definitely been another part of the feeling like me, feeling like Hannah and not a mum. And so I'm like, it's worth it. It's worth the risk. And, you know, if he's in a especially grabby mood, I'll just take them out and then I'll just wear them for my work day, or wear them if I'm going out in the evening, you know. Chop and change, switching between mum mode and Hannah mode. How has your schedule and calendar blocking changed since dropping the Hannah Witton channel? Oh, thank you for asking. So yes, it has. So I still do calendar blocking. I find it very, very useful to block out the limited time that I have in the middle of the day. So this is what has changed. It previously was packed. It was just absolutely full to the brim, every minute accounted for, and that was very stressful because often things would overrun or last minute things would come up, and then it's like, where do I put this thing? So now I've actually been able to give myself a bit more wiggle room in the schedule. So I do the childcare run most days, and Rowan is in 9 till 5, and so I don't really get a chance to like start work, sit down at my laptop until 9:30, and I really need to be wrapping up, like finishing, putting things away at 4:30. So 9:30 to 4:30 is my working day. However, I do not schedule anything in those 30 minutes. So actually, I'm only scheduling a working day between 10 and 4. And I give myself an hour for lunch. I don't always take the hour for lunch, but it's there. It's like there as a repeated thing in my calendar every single day. So 30 minutes at the beginning, 30 minutes at the end, and an hour in the middle. I've got 2 hours of wiggle room in my working day. And it is glorious, and it is so needed. And not so needed in a sense that it always gets filled with work, but so needed in a sense that if I do, it's there. And if I don't, I just chill the fuck out. I'm like, oh, I did my work. I'm just gonna chill out now. I'm just gonna read a book, watch some TV, go for a walk. And honestly, I'm living my best life. So that's one of the major things that has changed with my scheduling, is actually shrinking the amount of time that I can schedule things in. And so it creates a lot more breathing room. And then the other thing is not putting any work in Thursday afternoons. I have Fridays off with Rowan, so Thursday afternoon is like my final stint of work. And again, it's all the things that get pushed, all of the last minute things that come up, all of the things that overran. And my Thursday afternoons would always be filled with necessary work. And then it's super stressful at the end of the week when you're trying to wrap everything up. And then I'm going to pick up Rowan and I'm meant to be in weekend mum mode and I just can't switch off from work. So now having that Thursday afternoon completely unscheduled means that there is that flexibility there where I can move things there if needed. And I genuinely feel at the end of every week, or at least at the end of most weeks, at the end of more weeks than I was previously feeling, done. Like I'm like, I did everything that I needed to do this week. I feel completely in control. I feel like ready for the next week. There's nothing left hanging. There's nothing that needs to be done that I haven't attended to yet. Like I can close the laptop and go pick up my child and hang out with him for the weekend. So that's how it's changed and I love it. Any regrets leaving sex ed? So actually the one thing that I kind of miss is the people. So all of the community of other sex educators and people making that kind of content. But I can still talk to those people. Like I still have a connection with them. I occasionally still see them at events. Like even if I'm not a sex educator, if there's like a book launch, it's like I'll sneak in. I'll be like, hi guys. And it's nice because it feels like a little bit of a reunion. I'm like, oh, hello, how's everyone doing? So I regret not kind of like being as involved in that community and being kind of like in the middle of it and a part of it with everyone. But it's not like a hard line, obviously. Like I'm still connected in a way, and some of those people are clients or even potential clients. So there are ways that I'm like working with them, but also like some of them are also friends, and so I get to socialize with them in other ways. So that's probably like the biggest thing that I miss, but there are ways around it to kind of still feel connected. Just read your Guardian article and wanted to say well done. Thank you. How did that come about? Yeah, so a little behind the scenes for you. So I believe it was my friend Frankie, who's a journalist. She sent me a tweet of a Guardian journalist, editor, who'd like tweeted out being like looking for quitting stories for their Why I Quit column. And she sent me that and I was like, oh yeah, 100%. And so I sent that to my publicist, and then my publicist reached out and organized the whole thing. And yeah, I wrote it actually a while ago. It was a long time between it being written and it being published, but it is out now and you can read it. It is slightly edited to sound more dramatic. Like it sounds like the way that you read it, especially like the penultimate paragraph or something, it sounds like I've quit YouTube entirely, which obviously is not true, but I understand that they want it to sound more like final than obviously it actually is. So there are a couple of changes that weren't me, but for the most part, I wrote it and it's in The Guardian. Why I quit. If you had not become a content creator, what would you have done? Honestly, no idea. Some of the other things that kind of really interested me when I was at uni were like museums. Like I did a whole module that was about the Tudors, but it was a material like object history. So it was like, what can we learn about them from like physical objects? But then we also did elements of like museum studies in it in terms of like, what are curators saying and what are museums saying when they display certain objects and not others, and in what ways, and like how you move around a museum and the journey that you take someone on. Like that was something that I remember being really fascinated by at uni, but obviously like the YouTube stuff was taking off at the same time. So if the YouTube stuff hadn't happened, then maybe I would have pursued that like nugget of interest and looked into like museum studies, which I know is like an MA that you can do, or like worked at a museum in some way, like maybe something like that. Or maybe just teaching. Who knows? Who knows? What ifs? There's so many what ifs. This person has said, please don't answer if you don't want to. But clearly I want to, because here we are. How financially viable is your new job/role? The only reason currently why it is financially viable is because I'm still doing this and I still have my Patreon. And I am so grateful for both of those things, because what it has meant is that it's allowed me to explore this new career, explore this new endeavor, but without the pressure of having to like make bank from it immediately, like to have to replace an entire income. So I am earning money from it. I like charge an hourly rate or like per project or a day rate. And honestly, that was a nightmare figuring out what that would be. And a lot of my first clients have either been friends or people in the sex and relationship space, or patrons as well, like patrons of mine who are also content creators. And also because they are like my first clients, they've all got like discounted rates as well. So yeah, because we're in this kind of like first batch, my guinea pig era period, people have got discounted rates. Obviously, it's a lot more work up front for me initially because I'm figuring out all the systems of how I work with people. I'm figuring out rates and invoicing. I'm like doing all of the research for all of the consultations and stuff as well. But obviously a lot of that work is then stuff that I can just like draw upon. Like I don't necessarily have to do all of that again for when I work with new people. So it's a lot of like upfront work. And honestly, I haven't calculated like how many clients I would need per month to replace this income, because that's probably not going to happen in terms of like, I don't want that to happen because I'm still going to be making these videos. And I also don't want to overextend myself, because I've heard a lot of stories from freelancers, like they go freelance and they start booking at all of these clients and then they get completely swamped and too busy and they have to drop clients and they have to start saying no to people. And I have just like a handful of clients right now, and that is more than enough for me. So I don't need loads of people. So it is financially viable in the grand scheme of like my entire business and what I do. As its own thing, I don't actually know. I haven't calculated like how many hours of work I put into it versus how much I've earned from it. And I kind of don't really care to know at this point. But it'll be interesting looking at the income breakdown for next year, because there's not really going to be many payments for this year, the one that you'll see next month of the new career stuff. So it'll be next year by the time we get to like look and see how big a slice of the pie that income is. We shall see. Oh, do I make a prediction now? I would like it to be 10%, but of course I also would like to have a baby. So anything could happen. I'm going to answer this question, not because I've got a good answer to it, but because I get asked it a lot. And it is, how do you stay so positive all/most of the time? And the reason why I don't know how to answer this is because I do not know. And please, if there are any like psychologists or therapists watching this, please feel free to correct me in the comments. But from my experience, I do believe that some people are like predisposed to being like glass half full, and some people are predisposed to being glass half empty. But there are also things that you can do to have a more positive outlook. And one of the things that actually did really help me when it was like peak lockdown, peak trying to conceive, so it was like all of these things were against me in terms of like pressure on my mental health, was I did the free Science of Wellbeing course that is from Yale, that's online and it's free and it's great. And I really took a lot of the things from that away in terms of just like, what does the science say about how to be happy? And honestly, would recommend. And so like some of the key things from that for me were around using my strengths, social connection, gratitude, and savoring. Like there's a lot of other things as well, but like those are the kind of things that like I really took on board. And then it also just so happens that I am married to someone who is one of the most like chill and just content with life people that I know. And so that's also like rubbed off on me a bit. He's very stoic, and not in the sense of like emotionless stoic, but like if you look into stoic philosophy, that's his vibe. Those are all of the questions that I have time for today. There were so many more, so hopefully we'll do another Q&A at some point in the future. But thank you so much for watching and for all of your really lovely and thoughtful questions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.